Always play for open positions. Let's go knight f3. I'm not going to do any gambits here. I'm going to keep it very, very traditional. Play d4. Now, Scotch is what I played as a kid, and the reason I really like it is you get the quick development of the bishops and the knights get out fast. You get this knight here, you get the other knight to this square, and then you can just develop the bishops and castle the king very quickly. Do I understand how to play the English? No, you guys. I've never played the English in my entire life. It's a tough opening. I might have missed something. When did GG Yo become GG Why Not? During the World Chess Championship match, there was a leak of preparation, and you know, I can take both pawns, but normally black takes and white takes. So this is a position you can normally get after e takes d4. It became a GG Why Not when there was a leak during the World Championship match, and Richard Rapport accidentally the games that he and Dean Lauren played on Lead Chess were leaked, and because of that, Richard changed his profile quote to GG Why Not, and that's where it comes from. No, with 5 minutes I can explain the moves. 3 minutes I can't quite do that in the same way. So this is actually a position I played now. Bishop e7 is a mistake. Problem with trading off here, though, is that if you go knight f6, I have e5. The knight is really, really in bad shape. There's just no squares. Can't go to any of these squares because the knight gets stuck. So for that reason, it's very hard to develop. Now he goes bishop e7, but I'm going to play knight c3. I could take the pawn and win, but I'm not going to do that. Because I want this to be educational as opposed to stomping with queen takes g7. And see, now I go e5, and you'll see knight has no squares here. If he goes here, I have g4. Can't go to any of these squares because the knight always gets trapped no matter where he goes. So now he has to go back, and now he loses development. I get more space, pawns up here, loses more space than I have bishop f4. Thank you, Stilonzo, for the host with 5 years. Thank you so much to Stilonzo. Appreciate it. Running away. So, okay, goes knight g8. So now I'm going to develop the bishop and castle the king out of the center of the board here. Brosie's mate in 32, not exactly. Okay, goes f6. So now I'm going to castle here. And again, no development. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces on the original squares. I've got my king out. Now I just need to bring the bishop, bring the rook into the game, and he's just so far behind in development. So I'm going to take the pawn. These educational streams are my favorite. Now, he takes the bishop. Now, I could just trade into an endgame where I'm up a pawn, but once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces not developed. So let's bring the bishop, bring the rook into the game, and just like that, all my pieces all my friends are with me at the party, basically. All the pieces are in the middle of the board here. And black has big problems. You can't castle again because it's diagonal. And still, again, rook's perfectly placed, bishop's well placed, knight developed, king out of the center. This is a model textbook game of how to develop your pieces. This is it's very, very difficult to play, basically. Beating up 700s, on the one hand, yes, but on the other hand, this is very educational. They learn something from this. Because I am explaining everything I do. Every single move, I'm giving you guys an explanation for why I play it. This coffee is hot. It's making me sweat a little. How good were you at math? I was terrible at math, you guys. I hated math growing up. Math was not my thing. My thing was history. I'm like a guy who loves languages. I love ancient history, you know, reading about like the Punic Wars, reading about Hannibal. Of course, modern day people think that when you say Hannibal, oh, Hannibal Lecter. No, of course we're not talking about Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal was one of the great generals during the Punic Wars. So I always loved ancient history, things of that nature. Of course, ancient Rome. Ancient Rome and so forth. So yeah, so I'm like an ancient history guy. I love the archaeology. Like I've been to places like Pompeii or Herculaneum. You know, you see like those great cities that no longer exist, that were buried under ash, you know, thousands of years ago. So those are all things that really interest me. Let's take on d6 and go knight d5. So I'm like a history, I'm history, archaeology, language kind of guy. That's what I love. Yeah. Now I'm going to play knight to d5, put pressure on the knight on e7. I'm sorry that I went on a bit of a rant there about Hannibal. You know, Hannibal, you know, the other great general was Scipio, right? Scipio Africanus. I believe he was a general on the other side, right? If I remember correctly, it was Scipio, right? Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much OU812 Dad for the 5 gifted subs. Appreciate it. Yeah. He won. It was the Battle of Carthage that he won, right? Yeah. So it was, the Second Punic War. Yep, exactly. Of course, nobody even knows what I'm talking about. Obviously, like you're like, what, who, what are you even talking about? Okay, now in this position, he used his rooks. Yeah, I'm just winning here because basically there's a problem with this pin on the file. It's because he's so far behind in development. So he sacks the rook, but it doesn't do much. I just take, and again, my rooks are well placed, my queen is well placed. He has nothing he can really do here other than lose. Yeah, but again, this is like, that's all stuff that I read when I was younger. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep